Hi, so today we are going to be making chocolate chip cookies. I have my recipe and I have all my ingredients already laid out. I'm going to need shortening, brown sugar, white sugar, vanilla, eggs, flour, baking soda, salt, and chocolate chips. So the first thing I need to do is preheat my oven to 350 degrees. We already learned how to do this on my oven in another video. Please ask your learning coaches or your parents for help on setting your oven appropriately. So I'm going to go ahead and preheat the oven to 350. So as that's heating, we're going to go ahead and get started making our cookies. So the first thing we need to do, I'm going to use a mixer. They work best, I think, but you can use a fork or something that is similar to that in a bowl. It just takes a little longer, but you can do that. So the first thing it says we need 1 cup shortening. So when I'm making cookies, I like the pre-cut shortening sticks. So I'm going to open my shortening stick. And I am going to put it in the bowl. Just a reminder, I washed my hands before we got started. If you have not, please do that before you start cooking. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is add brown sugar and white sugar. So here I have my white sugar, and my recipe says I need a half a cup of white sugar. So we are going to grab a half a cup. And I wonder if mine is in the dishwasher. It very well may be. All right. Here it is, half cup. Half a cup of white sugar. So when you need a half a cup of sugar, you're going to fill the entire thing up to a level amount. So I'm just scooping in my bag and making sure that my sugar is level. You can shake a little bit, or if you have a butter knife, you can scoop it. And we are going to put it in our mixing bowl. And we're going to fold this up, and now that we're done with that, we're going to set it to the side or put it away. The next thing we need is 1 cup brown sugar. With the brown sugar, you want to make sure your sugar is packed in there. So it's easier for me if I use 2 half a cups, but you can also use 1 full cup. So I'm going to make sure that my brown sugar is nice and packed in my cup. And if it's a little bit over, that's okay, but you want to make sure that you get it nice and packed in there. We're going to put that in my bowl, and because I'm using a half a cup, I need 2 of them to make 1 whole cup. So you can see my brown sugar is nice and packed in my cup. We're going to put that in the mixer. I'm going to close the mixer, and I'm going to turn it on low to get mixing those 3 ingredients. So I'm going to lock it for safety. And then I'm going to turn my mixer on low. So when I do this, it's helpful if I get a spatula. And what you'll notice if you open up your mixer is the shortening will stick to your mixing blade or your mixer. So you're going to want to push it off if it happens like this, and then just scoop it a little bit around. So that way it gets some of the other sugar on there, lock it, and turn it back on. It will mix up. The next thing that I have on here is baking soda and salt. What you'll notice, we're going to do the dry ingredients first, and then we're going to add in the liquids. I just mix this a little better that way. So I'm going to do my teaspoon of salt. Do it over the sink so I don't make a mess. Need 1 teaspoon salt. You want that level. We're going to put that in the mixing bowl. We also need a teaspoon of baking soda. You want to make sure that you are leveling that as well. So when I do it in my box, I scoop it for using the top of the box to level my baking soda. And that's going to go in there as well. We want that to mix up pretty good before we add anything else. So while that's mixing, I'm going to put away the items that we've already used. This just helps keep our area a little cleaner. And the sugar. Okay, now that this has been mixing a little bit, I'm going to shut it off and open it up. And again, push all the stuff out of my mixing lid. And it probably looks kind of crumbly. That's okay. That's what it's supposed to look like. And then I'm going to turn it back on. And remember to keep your hands away from the mixer because if you touch it when it's going, it's going to hurt your fingers. Okay, we don't want to get hurt. So we're going to start by adding the vanilla. We need 1 teaspoon of vanilla. You can use imitation vanilla or real vanilla, whatever your family prefers. And again, I'm going to pour it over my sink, so any dropping I will do right in there, and I'm going to put it in the mixer. I need 2 eggs. So when I do my eggs, I'm going to crack them in a bowl first, in case I get any shells. I can take those right out. So I'm going to crack my egg, put my fingers in here and separate the egg. Put the egg in there. And I did not get any shells, so I'm going to put that right in my mixer, and I'm going to do one more. Okay. Again, no shells. It's okay to put it in the mixer. We're going to let that mix up just a little bit. I'm going to stop my mixer and take the stuff again out of the mixing blade. And scoop the sides so that way everything gets mixed up. And then I'll turn that back on for a minute. So the next thing I need, set that off to the side. The next thing I need is my flour. I've got a tray that I can set this on. You can see my counter gets kind of dirty, and that's okay. My counter was clean when we started, and I'll clean it again when we're done. So the next thing we're going to do is add the flour. So we are going to open up the flour container. And what I like to do is measure my flour again over the sink. So if I make a mess, it is over the sink, not on the counter. So I hold my cup over the sink and I spoon the flour into the 1 cup measuring cup. You might need help from a learning coach or a parent. Okay? And then what you're going to do is you are going to level your flour. We want to make sure it's nice and level. So I took the end of my spoon. You can use a butter knife, whatever works for you. So we are going to slowly put this in the mixer. If you do it too fast, it'll just poof right out and it'll make a mess. So we're just going to do it really nice and slow and let that first cup work its way into the dough as we measure our second cup. So I'm going to do the same thing. And as you can see, as the flour kind of puffs out of it, it's over the sink, so it's okay. So I'm going to, again, level my cup and put that slowly in the mixer. So we're just going to slowly put this in. And let that mix for a second. And the last thing we have is 1 cup chocolate chips. So I'm going to get another measuring cup out. And here's my cup. So now if you want to do gluten-free, it's just the type of flour that you use. So if you are gluten-free, then you can use almond flour with the recipe and everything else is exactly the same. Okay. So we're going to measure 1 cup of chocolate chip morsels. I'm going to stop my mixer and make sure I take everything out of the beater. This is called a beater. I call it a lot of different things, but it's called a beater. So we're going to put it in the middle and lock it and start going again. And now that everything's mixed up really well, we're going to add our chocolate chips. So again, we're going to add them slowly so they get mixed quite well. We don't want them all in one spot. We're going to let that go for just a minute. I'm going to get my pan out. And as that's mixing, I'm going to put away the eggs and the vanilla. All right. My oven is up to 205 degrees, so it still has a few minutes to preheat. It looks like it's almost done in here. We need to take the batter out of the beater and mix it up one more time, and then we can start making our cookies. Okay. So what we're going to do now is take the cookie dough and put it on our cookie sheet. There's a couple ways you can do this. You can use an ice cream scooper if you have one. I don't think I have one upstairs. So I'm just going to go ahead and use a spoon and my finger. Again, make sure your fingers are washed, your hands are washed. The big thing is make sure whatever size cookie you make, they're all roughly about the same size. So I'm going to just take a little scoop and put it on my baking sheet. And I'm going to do this until I've got anywhere from 9 to 12 cookies on my baking sheet, depending on how big yours is. I'm just going to do that. And then when my oven is preheated, I will put them in the oven and we will cook them for about 10 minutes and then you can enjoy them. So I'm almost done. Putting the cookies on the cookie sheet. If you love chocolate and you want a little more chocolate in your chips in your cookie than a 1 cup, you are welcome to do that. I am not a chocolate lover, and so I usually only put a cup in. I like some chocolate in small amounts, but I'm not a big chocolate person, so I only do my 1 cup. Okay, that's it. So now we just wait until the oven's preheated, put it in, set the timer. We'll do it for 10 minutes, and then we'll come back and check on our cookies, and then we'll have some.